So today I'm going to be creating my own World War III scenario. This scenario is going to compose of the major world powers fighting against each other. Right now the world doesn't look like it's going to go into a world war, so I thought that I would go ahead and just make a scenario for fun. So let's get right into it. This scenario is going to consist of two sides, the red side and the blue side. The red side is the attacker and the blue side is the defender. So the brink of this war is going to be another Korean War, with North Korea attacking South Korea. So just like that, we have the beginning of World War III on the Korean Peninsula. And if North Korea were to attack South Korea, I'm sure that the US would come to its aid. And with the US coming to aid of South Korea, China would most likely come to the aid of North Korea. Now, since South Korea isn't a NATO state, we don't have the NATO members coming to the aid of South Korea, but I'm sure that some of the major NATO members would come to the aid. Some of the US's closest allies are Canada, the UK, and France, so I'm sure that they would come to help. So this is our current world map scenario. We have China, North Korea versus the US and its allies. I'm sure that Iran would want to take advantage of the scenario and declare war on the US, just because tensions have been rising between the two countries as of recently. And with Iran joining, I'm sure that most of the Middle East would follow suit. That includes Iraq and Syria. And if Iran is going to war with the US, I'm sure that Turkey would come to the aid of the US. And with Turkey joining the war, we have Russia declaring war on Turkey. So now the scenario just escalated very quickly. We have two major powers at war with one major power and its allies. I don't know why I said major power. The UK and France are both kind of strong, so I don't know why I said that. But with this, we do have Russia declaring war on a NATO member, which means the rest of the NATO states would be called in. NATO members that would probably join right away would be Spain, Germany, Poland, and the Benelux region. Now, if Russia were to join the war, I'm sure that Belarus would want to join on their side. Now, with Russia and China's influence in mid-Asia, I'm sure that some of these countries right here would want to join. So Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan would probably want to join. And with that, we have the World War III situation escalating very quickly. You know, before it was just kind of going like this, and now it's going straight up. Let's not forget that Japan would most likely join on the US's side. Japan is another one of the US's closest allies. Also, this isn't Japan, but it's going to be blue, just ignore it. And right here we have probably where the fighting would begin. Before this, probably troops were rallying up and getting ready, but now fighting is beginning. I'm sure that Turkey would be taken out pretty easily, although those mountains might slow down troops a little bit. South Korea is already gone. And probably a naval invasion is planned on Japan. Now with the red side, strategy would most likely to get rid of Turkey, South Korea, and Japan as soon as possible in order to push through Europe. Now with the blue side, I'm sure that the UK, France, and Spain will want to push their troops up into Poland to hold back Belarus from pushing in. The US and Canada would most likely send their troops to South Korea and Turkey. With the US still having troops in Afghanistan, I think that the red side would push through Afghanistan and hold those troops hostage, or make them prisoners of war. I don't know what the correct terminology is. At this point in time, the UK would start to call in some of their former colonies, such as Australia and New Zealand. Like I said earlier on, that some of the Western European NATO powers would join in right away, but now that the war has gone on for a while, I'm sure that Romania, Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia would all join in, along with Norway, Denmark, and Portugal. Now here's where a little bit of a twist comes in. I think that Russia would push through Ukraine and Moldova to get to Romania and Bulgaria. The Middle East would most likely take out Turkey pretty quickly and move up, so taking out Ukraine in the process would be pretty helpful. So we have Ukraine joining the blue side, Moldova too. With Russia's full attack on Europe, Italy would join, along with Hungary, Austria, Croatia, and Slovenia. Bosnia, as of now, is not a member of NATO, but they almost are. They're kind of in the in-between area of like, I'm almost a NATO member, I'm getting there, so I think that Bosnia would probably join. The correct term is actually Bosnia and Herzegovina. Is that how you say it? Herzegovina? I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a weird name. Albania, Greece, and North Macedonia are also NATO members, so they would join in too. So this is a pretty old map, now that I look at it, because Serbia and Montenegro are still in a union, but they probably wouldn't join if they were separate anyway. Is Montenegro a member? It is a member state. Okay, so Montenegro would join, but since Serbia isn't in NATO, I'm not going to put them on this map. Now with things escalating like this, I think that the red team would probably want some more members on their team, so I think Myanmar would probably join, as well as Pakistan, which would also lead India to joining. Now India might be in trouble in this situation because they were completely surrounded by the red team, but with India joining the war, this actually brings in another front for the blue side, which would be super helpful. India is also a former British colony, so I think that the relation between the UK and India would maybe bring them into the war. Now with war happening in the Middle East, I'm sure that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict would escalate into them joining the war. Israel would most likely join on the blue side because they have like kind of an alliance with the US, and Palestine would join on the red side. And with that, not many people like Israel in the Middle Eastern region, so Egypt would probably join a war against them, even though they would be going against the UK. It's kind of like one of those things where like I don't like one of your friends, even though I know that you're all going to beat me up for not liking him. I don't know if that was a good comparison. Jordan joined the red side, just being overwhelmed by everybody in this region. And with Saudi Arabia being a pretty close-ish ally to the US, more so they're against Iran than they are allies to the US, so I think they would join on the blue side, along with Kuwait joining on the blue side. I think Bangladesh would join the blue side, and Nepal and Bhutan would remain neutral. I want you guys to keep in mind that this is a pretty fictional scenario. I'm not looking up statistics and alliances and stuff like this. I'm just kind of going on, like, looking at different countries, like, okay, maybe this would happen, but it may not be realistic, which is kind of the point of these mapping videos. They're not supposed to be super realistic. It's supposed to give you an idea of what could happen, or like an alternative scenario of this or that. Now, this whole series is just for fun. It's not meant to offend anybody or make anybody mad. It's just for the fun. It's fun to create and look at, but some people get offended by it. So this is pretty much the height of the war. A lot of things have happened so far. All of Asia is at war except for Southeast Asia. All of Europe is at war except for some of the Nordic countries. And yeah, it's just a complete mess. Russia would most likely invade Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, so they would probably join. They're also NATO members, so they would have joined already. Finland is kind of the Florida of Europe, so Finland's going to go at it and do their own thing against Russia. They haven't joined the blue side, so they're only at war with Russia. Georgia would most likely join the blue side because they and Russia do not have a good relationship, and Armenia and Azerbaijan just got out of a war not too long ago, I think. So I don't think they would want to join in on this giant fiasco, although it would be pretty helpful if the red members could get through here. But then again, it's mountains, so I'm not sure, like, unless they're like Hannibal moving through the Alps, I don't know how skilled they are at supplying. So just real quick, I want to put out there that there would be no nukes in this scenario. If nuclear bombs were involved, then this would most likely be the final war and the final few days or weeks that humans are a thing. So I'd like to think that there would be no nuclear bombs because, you know, having nukes is just an end to humanity. And yeah, so this is the height of the war. This is all the countries that I think would join in this scenario. The US has a lot of influence in the Americas, so I'm sure that some of these other countries might join. I'm pretty sure that Cuba would also want to join the red side, so I'm going to put them under that category just real quick. And yeah, so this is my World War III scenario. Pretty unlikely, but not impossible. Now, the whole China-Taiwan scenario is kind of mixed up right now. So I'm just going to put it as they rebel against China. So yeah, this is World War III right here. I'm going to go ahead and draw up some peace treaties and I'll get right back to you. Alright, and this is scenario 1 where the red side wins. You can see that Russia takes over a majority of Eastern Europe. They take the Baltics, part of Romania, Moldova, and all of Ukraine. Belarus is allowed to expand their borders a little bit into Lithuania, Poland, and Ukraine. Looking at the Middle East, you can see that Turkey lost a lot of their land over to Russia. They took a majority of this area over here. Iran took their southern area, Syria took their northern area, and Palestine was given full control over Israel. Coming over to India, you can see that Pakistan had a huge amount of land given to them. China now controls some of India's northern lands and some of their lands over here. Myanmar was given half of Bangladesh and eastern India. Korea is united under North Korea, and Russia takes control of all these Japanese islands. And for the other participants, they had to pay war reparations. I also forgot to draw this in, but Saudi Arabia would lose land to Jordan and Iraq. And Iraq would most likely annex Kuwait. So this is scenario 1 where the red side wins. Let's take a look at scenario 2 where the blue side wins. And this is the scenario in which the blue side wins. Starting off in the west, you can see that the US annexes Cuba. And coming over to Eastern Europe, you can see that the Baltics are now united under one union. They also get some land from Russia and Belarus. Same goes for Poland. They get Kaliningrad and some land from Belarus. And also the same thing for Ukraine. They get land from Belarus and Russia. The rest of Belarus was given to Russia because the rest of Belarus was so small that it would just be better off under Russia. Now we have a much cleaner Middle Eastern area here. Don't get mad at me for this. This is just fictional. Georgia now controls more of Russia. Turkey has Syria and some Iranian lands. Iraq is completely annexed by the US along with Iran. You know, gotta get that oil. Israel is given some land from Egypt. Once again, this is fictional. And Saudi Arabia is given Jordan. Coming over to South Asia, you can see that Afghanistan gains land from Pakistan, and so does India. They also get land from Myanmar and annex Bangladesh. Finally, coming over here to Eastern Asia, Japan gets this island back, and South Korea is united with North Korea. Taiwan is also given independence. So yeah, here is my World War III scenario. This is completely fictional, as stated many times, but I think this was fun to put together and look at all the possibilities. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you are new. I do have a Discord server. It is linked down in the description, so if you want to join that, you can. Not a lot of people talk there, but I think it's still worth joining. Tell me in the comments below what kind of mapping videos you guys want to see in the future, because I have some ideas, but there's 2 days this week where I don't have any ideas, so your input would be super helpful. This should be the 4th upload you see of Daily Upload Week, so we're halfway through, almost to the end. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.